Imagine building an empire only to be forced to move your entire business to a different state just to stay alive. If the company must live, then they must leave Ohio completely. That's exactly what happened to the original founders of Bucyrus, a company that began as a small, scrappy manufacturing in rural Ohio. Only to face challenges so fierce, they had to uproot their entire operation to Wisconsin in a desperate bid to survive. But what if I told you this global giant, Bucyrus-Erie, began with nothing but a man with a dream, struggling to make ends meet in the industrial chaos of 19th century America? Bankruptcy threats, internal disagreements, and fierce competition almost crushed them before they could even get started. That's right, Bucyrus-Erie nearly didn't happen. It's the kind of story full of ambition, financial struggle, and huge gambles, some of which paid off in monumental ways and others that nearly sank the company. And yet, from these risky moves came one of the most important players in the world of construction and mining equipment. They built machines that transformed landscapes, dug the Panama Canal, constructed America's largest dams, aided NASA's space exploration dreams, and later caught the eye of construction giant Caterpillar. The story of Bucyrus-Erie starts in the heart of 19th century Ohio with Daniel P. Eales and two other associates. The background of all three men couldn't have been more diverse, yet they shared a vision of mechanized construction that would change the world. Daniel P. Eales, the main brain of this mega machinery company, was born in 1825 to a modest family in Ohio. Eales grew up with a practical mindset and a passion for innovation, but financial instability often plagued his early adult life. His first ventures were in the banking industry, where he learned valuable lessons about capital and investment. Yet his heart was drawn toward the promise of the Industrial Revolution. Eales believed that the future lay in mechanization, especially for the growing American infrastructure, and he wasn't wrong. To achieve this lofty dream, he brought in two other friends, an engineer who knows the technical know-how of machinery, and another who had been operating steam shovels for decades. These three men came together in Bucyrus, Ohio, a small town with limited opportunities but big industrial ambitions. Their goal? To manufacture steam shovels, machines that would replace the backbreaking manual labor of digging with mechanized precision. But let me tell you, their journey to success wasn't smooth, not by a long shot. Founded in 1880 as the Bucyrus Foundry and Manufacturing Company, the trio's new venture was immediately met with a harsh economic reality. Despite their individual talents, their first steam shovels were expensive to produce and hard to sell. The market simply wasn't ready for their innovation. Clients were reluctant to trust machines over manual labor, and early sales were sluggish at best. Financial strain hit them hard. Despite their initial investment, the company was hemorrhaging money, and within just a few years they were on the brink of bankruptcy. Internal tensions flared. The co-founding engineer believed they needed to push forward with more advanced designs, while Eales, more pragmatic, wanted to cut costs and focus on surviving. The third co-founder, who was watching his investments dwindle, grew increasingly concerned about whether they could keep the business afloat. The disagreements were so intense that at one point the founders nearly parted ways. Had they done so, Bucyrus would never have evolved into the global force it would become. By 1893, the pressure to keep the company alive reached a boiling point. The economic downturn in Ohio didn't help either. Ohio's industrial landscape was competitive and unforgiving, and the state was hit hard by the Panic of 1893, a financial crisis that rippled through the American economy. The founders knew they needed a change of scenery to survive. This led to one of the most pivotal decisions in the company's history, moving their operations from Ohio to South Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Why Wisconsin? The state was more industrially stable at the time, with easier access to transportation and raw materials. It also offered cheaper labor and land, which was crucial for a company teetering on the edge of bankruptcy. Moving to Wisconsin allowed Bucyrus to reset. The fresh start worked in their favor, and they were soon able to reduce production costs and increase their workforce. But the move wasn't without its challenges. Establishing a new base in South Milwaukee meant starting over in many ways. New workers, new suppliers, and new markets. Despite these obstacles, the gamble paid off. The move reinvigorated the company, and their steam shovels began gaining traction in the market. It wasn't long before Bucyrus became known as a reliable manufacturer of heavy-duty machinery, paving the way for future expansion. One of Bucyrus's most famous inventions during this period was the steam shovel, a beast of a machine that forever changed the construction and mining industries. In the late 1800s and early 1900s, steam shovels were becoming essential for large-scale excavation projects, from railway construction to open-pit mining. Bucyrus's steam shovels were revolutionary for their time, allowing companies to move mountains, literally in record time. Their machines became particularly famous for their use in the construction of the Panama Canal, one of the most ambitious engineering projects in history. In 1904, Bucyrus supplied 77 steam shovels for the project, a fact that firmly established its reputation as a leading manufacturer of excavation equipment. These were 95-ton models with 5 cubic yard buckets that could move approximately 8 tons of material at once. Each of these steam shovels was operated by a crew of 4. The machines operated day and night, helping to dig the vast canal that would link the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. Without Bucyrus's steam shovels, the Panama Canal project could have dragged on for decades longer. The success of the Panama Canal project catapulted Bucyrus to international fame, and the company's future was suddenly much brighter. But the road ahead was still full of twists and turns. As the 20th century progressed, Bucyrus continued to expand. In 1927, a major event changed the company's trajectory: the merger with the Erie Steam Shovel Company. Erie was another Ohio-based company that specialized in steam shovels, and combining forces made perfect sense. The merger gave Bucyrus access to new technologies, expanded production capabilities, and allowed the company to compete on a much larger scale. After the merger, Bucyrus officially became Bucyrus-Erie, and the newly formed company was a powerhouse in the construction and mining equipment industries. The merger wasn't without its challenges, however. There were cultural differences between the two companies, and some employees worried that Bucyrus's identity would be swallowed by the larger, more established Erie brand. Bucyrus's workers, who were used to adopting the latest innovations and high-end equipment, felt they would become confined by the conservative engineering methods of the Erie Steam Shovel Company. Erie believed in only tested, long-standing practical engineering methods and wasn't ready to gamble with innovations. But in the end, the merger proved successful, and the Bucyrus-Erie name became synonymous with reliability and innovation in heavy machinery. Bucyrus-Erie didn't just ride the wave of success following the merger, they actively contributed to it by continuously innovating. Some of the most iconic machines in industrial history came from Bucyrus-Erie's factories. One of the most famous was the Bucyrus-Erie 1850B, a massive dragline excavator lovingly nicknamed Big Brutus. Standing 160 feet tall and weighing 11 million pounds, Big Brutus was the second largest electric shovel in the world. It was used primarily in coal mining and became an icon of American industrial might. Big Brutus wasn't just a marvel of engineering, it was a symbol of how far Bucyrus-Erie had come since its humble beginnings. The company was now at the forefront of global construction and mining technology, and its machines were shaping the world in ways no one could have predicted. Other notable machines included the Bucyrus-Erie 1570W walking dragline, another giant used in surface mining operations, and the 120B shovels that were instrumental in the construction of the Hoover Dam. In fact, Bucyrus-Erie machines played a key role in several landmark construction projects, from the Golden Gate Bridge to the New York City subway system. But it wasn't just the size of their machines that made Bucyrus-Erie special, it was the versatility. The company produced equipment for a wide range of industries, including mining, construction, and even defense. During World War II, Bucyrus-Erie adapted some of its machines for military use. During World War II, Bucyrus-Erie demonstrated its versatility by adapting its heavy machinery to assist in the war effort. While the company had made its name in mining and construction, the war created new demands. Bucyrus-Erie answered the call by manufacturing military equipment, including mobile cranes and shovels that could be deployed in combat zones. These machines were crucial for quickly constructing airfields, bridges, and other essential infrastructure on the front lines. One notable instance where their equipment made a significant impact was during the D-Day invasion. As the Allied forces stormed the beaches of Normandy in 1944, Bucyrus-Erie's cranes were deployed to help build and reinforce temporary harbors, which were critical for the success of the invasion. These harbours, known as Mulberry Harbours, allowed the Allies to rapidly offload supplies, equipment and troops, keeping the war effort moving forward. Without these mobile cranes and other essential machinery from companies like Bucyrus-Erie, the logistical challenges of the invasion would have been far more difficult to overcome. The company's contribution to the war effort didn't go unnoticed, and Bucyrus-Erie earned a reputation as not only a leader in civilian industries, but also as a critical player in national defense. By the end of the war, their machines had not only shaped the physical landscape of America, but had also played a vital role in shaping the outcome of a global conflict. After World War II, Bucyrus-Erie was in a prime position to capitalize on the post-war boom. The need for new infrastructure, from roads to factories, was immense, and Bucyrus-Erie's reputation for durable, reliable machines made them a go-to choice for major construction projects. The company expanded its operations internationally, with its machines being used on construction sites across Europe, Asia, and South America. One of the company's most significant international achievements was its involvement in the construction of the Aswan High Dam in Egypt. Built between 1960 and 1970, the Aswan Dam was one of the largest infrastructure projects of the 20th century, designed to control flooding, provide irrigation water, and generate hydroelectric power. Bucyrus-Erie supplied massive dragline excavators and other heavy machinery that were essential in moving millions of tons of earth and rock during the construction process. This project further cemented Bucyrus-Erie's status as a global leader in heavy machinery and showcased the company's ability to tackle massive, high-stakes engineering challenges. Contributing to the company's ability to handle such high-stakes projects like the Aswan Dam was Big Brutus and an even bigger beast rightly nicknamed Big Muskie. If you thought that the Bucyrus-Erie 1850B, aka Big Brutus, was impressive, wait until you hear about the Bucyrus-Erie 4250W, also known as Big Muskie. Built in 1969, Big Muskie was the largest dragline excavator ever constructed. A truly awe-inspiring piece of machinery, it weighed an astonishing 27 million pounds and stood at nearly 22 stories tall. This massive beast was primarily used in strip mining operations in southeastern Ohio, where it could move more than 39 million pounds of earth every hour. Big Muskie wasn't just a machine, it was a marvel of engineering that represented the pinnacle of Bucyrus-Erie's technological capabilities. It required a crew of just 5 people to operate, and its bucket alone could hold 2 Greyhound buses. Big Muskie was used to strip mine coal for nearly 3 decades, and during its lifetime, it moved more earth than the entire Panama Canal project. However, Big Muskie's story ended on a somewhat somber note. By the 1990s, the demand for coal had decreased, and environmental regulations made it more challenging to operate massive strip mining machines. In 1999, Big Muskie was dismantled and scrapped, though its legacy lives on as a testament to the sheer scale of Bucyrus-Erie's ambitions. Despite its many successes, Bucyrus-Erie was not without its share of challenges and controversies. One of the most significant issues the company faced throughout its history was labor unrest. Like many large industrial companies in the 20th century, Bucyrus-Erie had a complicated relationship with its workforce, particularly in the post-war era when labor unions gained significant power. In the late 1960s and early 1970s, Bucyrus-Erie was hit with a series of labor strikes that threatened to disrupt its production capabilities. Workers were demanding better wages, safer working conditions, and more job security. The company, on the other hand, was struggling to maintain profit amid increasing competition from foreign manufacturers. The most notable strike occurred in 1974, when workers at the South Milwaukee plant walked off the job for nearly 3 months, bringing production to a standstill. The strike was bitter, with picket lines, clashes between workers and management, and accusations of unfair labor practices. In the end, the strike was resolved, and the workers received modest pay increases, but the company's bottom line took a significant hit. The labor unrest during this period was a reflection of broader economic trends in America, where industrial companies were grappling with rising costs and increased competition from overseas. In addition to labor disputes, Bucyrus-Erie was also embroiled in environmental controversies, particularly related to its involvement in strip mining. Environmentalists criticized the company for the damage that its machines, like Big Muskie, caused to the landscape. Strip mining, while efficient, left large scars on the earth. and Bucyrus-Erie found itself at the center of debates over the environmental impact of coal mining in the 1970s and 1980s. These challenges, though significant, didn't stop them from pushing forward. The company continued to innovate and expand, but it was clear that the economic landscape was changing. By the 1980s, Bucyrus-Erie was facing increased competition from foreign manufacturers, particularly from Japan and Germany, where companies were producing heavy machinery at lower costs. At the same time, the American company was shifting away from manufacturing and mining, leading to a decrease in demand for their core products. The company attempted to diversify by expanding into other areas, including hydraulic excavators and cranes, but it struggled to maintain profit. In 1988, Bucyrus-Erie was forced to file for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection, marking the beginning of the end for the once great company. However, Bucyrus-Erie wasn't done yet. In 1997, the company was reconstructed and rebranded simply as Bucyrus International, with a renewed focus on mining equipment. Under the leadership of CEO Tim Sullivan, Bucyrus International experienced a brief resurgence, as demand for mining equipment surged during the early 2000s thanks to a boom in global commodity prices. But even with this resurgence, Bucyrus International couldn't escape the forces of globalization and consolidation in the heavy machinery industry. In 2011, Bucyrus International was acquired by Caterpillar Inc., the world's largest manufacturer of construction and mining equipment, at a staggering $7.6 billion. The acquisition marked the end of Bucyrus as an independent company, but its legacy lived on under the Caterpillar brand. So, what made Bucyrus so attractive to Caterpillar? For one, Bucyrus had a century-long reputation for producing high-quality, reliable machinery, particularly in the mining sector. Caterpillar wanted to expand its footprint in the global mining industry, and acquiring Bucyrus gave them access to a broad portfolio of products, including draglines, electric shovels, and rotary drills. The acquisition allowed Caterpillar to become a dominant player in the mining equipment market, further solidifying its position as a somewhat monopolistic global industrial giant. Today, the Bucyrus name may no longer be in use, but its impact on the construction, mining, and industrial sectors is undeniable. From the steam shovels that helped build the Panama Canal, to the massive machines that dug the foundations for some of the world's most iconic infrastructure projects, Bucyrus's contributions to engineering are unmatched. Perhaps the most enduring legacy of Bucyrus is its commitment to innovation. Throughout its history, the company pushed the boundaries of what was possible with heavy machinery, creating machines that were bigger, more powerful, and more efficient than anything that had come before. These machines helped shape the modern world, digging tunnels, building dams, and even contributing to military victories during World War II. But they also raised eyebrows and attracted criticisms from environmentalists who were worried about the footprints Bucyrus's beastly machines left on the environment. In addition to its engineering achievements, Bucyrus also left a lasting mark on the communities where it operated. The company provided jobs for thousands of workers, many of whom spent their entire careers at Bucyrus. In places like South Milwaukee, Bucyrus was more than just an employer. It was a cornerstone of the local economy and a source of pride for generations of families. It was like a second family for most of them. Though Bucyrus is now part of Caterpillar, its story serves as a reminder of the importance of perseverance, innovation, and adaptability in the face of adversity. From its humble beginnings in Ohio to its global success, Bucyrus's journey is a testament to the power of vision and determination. From the brink of bankruptcy to global domination, from steam shovels to the largest dragline excavators in history, Bucyrus shaped the world in ways we can still see today. While the name may have disappeared, the machines, the innovation, and the impact will be remembered for generations to come. We hope you found this story both fascinating and motivational. Let us know in the comments which company's story you'd like us to explore next. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon.